At 12:14 a.m., freelance photo editor Inez Vale received an album she had not requested. Its first photograph showed her studio apartment from the ceiling above the kitchenette, where no camera existed. It had been taken 11 seconds earlier. Inez was visible at her desk only as a blurred shape in an amber coat. When she opened the image, her reflection vanished from the black window beside her. The chair, laptop, and room remained. In the glass, something was still sitting where she should have been. She tested the bathroom mirror next. Her raised hand cast a shadow across the sink, but the mirror showed only the open doorway behind her. Then the amber figure entered the reflection. It occupied her exact position, one hand raised, its face softened beyond recognition. Inez stepped away. The figure copied her after no delay at all. Closing the laptop did nothing. The first photograph had not altered an image. It had changed what reflective surfaces accepted as Inez. Back at the desk, the album displayed 5 photographs. Only the first had been opened. The remaining 4 were ordinary-looking views of her phone, apartment door, corridor, and empty chair. Inez tried to drag the album into the trash. The cursor refused to hold it. Her elbow struck the mug, sending a crescent of cold coffee across the desk. When she wiped the trackpad, her knuckle opened the second photograph, a close view of her phone camera aimed into the room. Her phone's front camera activated by itself. On its screen, the amber figure stood in the center of the apartment. Inez stood there physically, but the camera omitted her as completely as the mirror had. She lifted the phone. The figure lifted an empty hand. She turned sideways. It turned with her, borrowing the angle of her shoulders and the tilt of her head. Cameras had joined the mirrors. Outside a lens, the center of the room remained empty, except for Inez. Inez recorded a test. She crossed from the sink to the window, stopped twice, and touched the silver ring on her right hand. During playback, the figure repeated every movement and touched the same finger beneath its sleeve. In one frame, the sleeve cuff was torn exactly like the amber raincoat hanging by her door. Behind it, the kettle's curved side reflected something else. A pale glove held high where the Impossible Photographs camera should have been. There was no body attached to it. That detail reversed her understanding of the album. The figure was not entering the apartment or creeping closer between photographs. It had no behavior of its own. The file was dressing an empty outline with her movements and belongings, building a version of Inez that mirrors and cameras preferred. In the dark window, the figure touched its torn cuff while Inez stood several feet away. The amber raincoat by the door swayed once, although the windows were closed. Inez opened the third photograph because it showed her phone resting beside the laptop, and she hoped it contained a way to reverse the first 2. Instead, her phone stopped recognizing her face. Her laptop locked when she leaned close. Both devices opened when their cameras were pointed toward the empty space beside her, the position occupied by the amber figure on their screens. The album was moving outward in layers, first reflections, then cameras, and now machines that decided who she was. She called her sister, Mara, using the emergency keypad instead of facial access. Before Inez could explain, someone knocked. The fourth photograph showed the same side of the entry door, now trembling under each impact. Believing it might reveal who had sent the album, Inez opened it. The knocking stopped. Through the peephole stood Dorian, the neighbor who had shared her hallway for 3 years. Inez fastened the chain and opened the door a few inches. Dorian looked directly at her and asked, "Is Inez home?" She answered with his name and reminded him that she had collected his mail that morning. His expression tightened. Over Inez's shoulder, he smiled toward an empty place near the desk. "There you are," he said. When Inez pulled the door wider, the chain snapped taut and bent one screw in its plate. Dorian retreated, watching the room behind her as if an old friend had silently warned him away. Inez shut the laptop and wrapped its charging cable around the lid. 4 photographs had been opened. The 5th showed only the empty desk chair. She finally understood the sequence. Dorian represented familiar acquaintances. The last photograph would take someone closer. Mara was already driving across town, and she was the only person left who might still recognize Inez. For 18 minutes, Inez sat on the floor facing the bound laptop, while every reflective surface held the amber figure upright behind her. Mara arrived in a navy coat and stopped outside the damaged chain. When Inez opened the door, Mara said her name immediately. She saw the charcoal sweatshirt, the silver ring, and the frightened woman wearing them. That recognition was proof. The 4th photograph had not reached family. Inez led her inside and said only, "Do not open the laptop." Mara nodded. In the window behind them, the amber figure turned toward her before either sister moved. Inez demonstrated without touching the computer. Mara filmed her with the phone and saw the amber figure on its screen, standing where Inez stood. When Mara lowered the phone, she could see her sister normally again. She believed her. They decided to carry the closed laptop outside and leave every screen behind. Mara slid her hands beneath it. The coffee-stiffened charging cable caught on the desk lamp, tightening around the lid as she lifted. The lamp fell. Mara caught it, but the cable slipped free and the laptop opened against the edge of the desk. The 5th photograph filled the screen. The empty chair, photographed from directly behind Mara. She reached for the trackpad to close it. One touch opened the image at full size. The room's amber light dimmed, then steadied. Mara's hand remained on the computer. Her other hand slowly released Inez's wrist, as though she had discovered she was holding a stranger. Mara stepped away from Inez and asked, "Who are you?" Then she looked toward the empty chair. Her shoulders softened. "There you are." In the dark window, the amber figure sat beneath Mara's waiting hand. The album's first photograph had changed. The figure at the desk was sharp now, accepted and familiar. At the far edge stood a blurred woman in a charcoal sweatshirt, one silver-ringed hand raised uselessly toward the camera. The album had never added a stranger. It had decided which person was allowed to keep Inez's name.